It's common for people to think they could be really good. Christians in general think, hey, I can be a very good Christian, I can be really moral, but as far as being entirely sinless, that's just not a possibility. I mean, at some point, there's just some sin that you're not going to be able to overcome.
Right. What we're going to see today is that in a couple places here, we've got from the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Luke, that by Jesus' teachings here, we can see that this is not the case. We're going to be able to see that Jesus holds a standard of moral perfection, that he believes that humans have the potential to achieve moral perfection.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is read from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 4. We're going to read verse 17, and then in chapter 7, verses 16 through 18. From that time, Jesus began to preach and to say, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. By their fruits you will know them. Do you gather grapes from thorns or figs from thistles? Even so, every good tree produces good fruit, but the corrupt tree produces evil fruit. A good tree can't produce evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree produce good fruit."
So we've covered in an earlier video that these teachings spoken by Jesus were actually first taught by John the Baptist, and that when Jesus picked up the mantle of his ministry, he started by teaching these exact same things that John taught. And we can see from this that we have two kinds of trees. We don't have a tree that produces some good and some bad fruit. That's not one of the options. Jesus is telling us in reality there's a tree that produces only good fruit and no bad fruit, or only bad fruit and no good fruit.
The trees are analogous to people, obviously, and the fruit, of course, is analogous to the works that the people are doing. So good fruit is good works, obviously, and bad fruit is bad works or evil works.
Right. And we can see that because he's saying this is the way it is, we can know, first of all, this is the way it is, right? Jesus is telling us the reality of the situation. There's only two kinds of trees. There's not this third kind that produces a mix of fruit, for starters. Second of all, because he's saying that there's two kinds of trees, he wouldn't be saying you need to be the tree that only produces good fruit if this was not a possibility. By the fact that he's saying there's a tree here that produces only good fruit, we can see that he believes that human beings have the potential for producing only good fruit, moral perfection.
We can see this in the Gospel of Luke in chapter 6, verses 43 through 44. "For there is no good tree that produces rotten fruit, nor again a rotten tree that produces good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit." So again, that analogy that the tree is the person, well, there's a tree that can produce only good fruit, only good works.
Showing that this is a possibility for the human being. Now, this is a very high standard, obviously, and Jesus recognizes this. He said, with man, this is impossible, but with God, this is not impossible. With God, all things are possible. So if we were going to sum up our study today with one main point, what would you say that is?
There is a moral potential for perfection, that it is possible to be a human that does not sin. So the standard isn't that we need to be as good as possible, but there's going to be some bad fruit. No, the standard is there's no bad fruit. You really can, with God's help, be a person who does only right and who avoids doing any wrong.
All the time.
All the time. Thank you for staying with us till the end. We invite you to visit our website, www.bdsda.com, to learn more about who we are and, just as important, who we are not. Please join us as we will continue to offer new and interesting insights for your Sabbath School studies.
And if you want to keep up with our new studies as they're published, we recommend subscribing. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on plenty of other podcast apps. Links for subscribing are in the description.
God bless.
Many blessings.